You're listening to The Quiet Midnight. My apartment looks out over a small courtyard, and across that courtyard is another building, and in that building, directly across from me, is a window. For the 2 years I've lived here, an old man has lived behind that window. We never met, but we had a routine. Every morning around 7, I'd open my blinds with my coffee, and he'd be there at his window with what I assumed was his, and we'd wave. Just a small thing, a nod, a raised hand, 2 strangers acknowledging each other across 60 feet of empty air. Some mornings that little wave was the only human contact I'd have all day. I work from home. I don't get out much. So it mattered to me more than it probably should have. I called him in my head the waving man. This went on for 2 years. Rain, snow, holidays. Every morning, 7 o'clock, just the wave. Then, about 3 weeks ago, something changed. I opened my blinds one morning and he was there like always. But he didn't wave, he just stood there, staring at me, completely still. I waved anyway, a little unsure. He didn't move. I figured he wasn't feeling well and I let it go. The next morning, same thing, standing at the window, staring, not waving. But this time I noticed something that put a small, cold knot in my stomach. He was wearing the exact same clothes as the day before, a gray cardigan buttoned to the top, and he was standing in the exact same position, down to the angle of his head. I told myself old men are creatures of habit, same sweater, same spot. Nothing strange about that. The third morning, he was still there. Same cardigan, same stare, same position. That's when I started counting the hours, because it wasn't just the mornings anymore. That afternoon, I glanced across the courtyard. He was still standing there. Evening, when I closed my blinds, still there. Same position. Not sitting, not sleeping. Standing at the glass, staring into my apartment in the same gray cardigan, hour after hour after hour. A person can't stand that still for that long. I know that now. But at the time, I kept reaching for normal explanations because the normal explanations were the only ones I could live with. By the 5th day, I couldn't take it. I decided to do the neighborly thing. I'd go over, knock on his door, make sure the old man was okay. Maybe he'd had a stroke. Maybe he needed help. I counted the floors and windows to figure out which unit was his. 3rd floor, second from the left. I walked across the courtyard, into his building, up the stairs, and I knocked on the door of what I was sure was his apartment. A young woman answered. Maybe 30. Confused to see a stranger, I apologized, explained I lived across the way, said I was worried about the older gentleman who lived here, that he'd been standing at his window for days, and I wanted to check on him. She stared at me for a long moment, and then she said something I've thought about every single day since. There's no older gentleman here. I live alone. She hesitated. And I don't have a window that faces the courtyard. That wall is solid. There's no window on that side of my apartment at all. I actually laughed. A nervous little laugh. Because she had to be wrong. I could see the window from my own living room. I'd been looking at it for 2 years. I asked if I could see. I know how that sounds. A stranger asking to come into your apartment. But something in my face must have told her I wasn't dangerous, just frightened. She let me step into the doorway. She was right. The wall that faced the courtyard The wall where the window should have been, where I had watched an old man stand and wave every morning for 2 years, was solid brick, painted over, a bookshelf against it. No window, no frame, nothing. There had never been a window there. I don't remember walking home. I remember standing in my own living room, my hands shaking and forcing myself to look across the courtyard one more time. He was there, at the window that didn't exist, in the gray cardigan, staring at me. And this time, slowly, he raised his hand and he waved. I closed the blinds and I didn't open them for 4 days. I told myself I was sick. I told myself I had imagined the woman or imagined the wall or imagined all of it. But I knew. Somewhere underneath all the excuses, I knew that something had been standing across from me for 2 years, and I had waved back at it every single morning, and I had been glad to see it. On the 5th day, my sister called. She hadn't heard from me, and she was worried. I told her everything, the window, the old man, the wall that was really brick. I expected her to tell me I was losing it, to see a doctor, to get some sleep. Instead, she went very quiet. And then she asked me a question in a voice I'd never heard her use. She asked, "What did the old man look like?" I described him. The gray cardigan buttoned to the top, thin white hair. The particular way he held his hand up when he waved, fingers together, palm flat, almost formal. My sister started crying, because that was our grandfather, who died when I was 4. Who I don't remember and have never seen a photograph of, because there weren't any. He'd hated being photographed. The gray cardigan buttoned to the top, the flat, formal wave. She said that was exactly him, exactly. Details I couldn't possibly have known. He used to wave like that to us through the front window, she said. Every morning before school, fingers together, palm flat. She could barely get the words out. He'd stand at the glass and wave until we were out of sight. He always said... She stopped. I asked her what he always said. He always said he'd keep waving, even after. He said, "I'll wait at the window and I'll wave you home." I still live in that apartment. I keep the blinds closed now, mostly. But every so often on a bad morning when the loneliness gets to be too much, I open them with my coffee at 7 o'clock, and he's always there. And I've stopped being afraid, because I finally understand what he's doing. He's not staring, he's not watching, he's waiting. He's been waiting for 2 years at a window that doesn't exist to wave me home, and one of these mornings, I know this now, the way you know a thing in your bones. One of these mornings I'm going to wave back and I'm going to keep my blinds open and I'm going to walk across that courtyard. And this time the door is going to open onto a window. So if you have a routine with a stranger, a wave, a nod, a face you see every day and never question, look a little closer. You might already know them. They might already be waiting. This was The Quiet Midnight. Sleep well, if you can.